Welcome back to another UFC fight prediction video. In this video, I'll be predicting the prelim fights for UFC Fight Night on ESPN Plus, Assuncao versus Moraes 2. So I've already predicted the main card fights in a different video or in a prior video, and this is just the prelim videos or the prelim predictions in this video. And if any changes happen to this card, I will update it in the comment section. But I'm just gonna predict what's on the card right now. So without further ado, the first fight we have on the prelims, the first fight prediction is in the flyweight division. We have Rogerio Bontorin versus Magomed Bibulatov. And I'm not going to say their full names throughout the whole prediction because their full names, saying their full names is like a tongue twister. So Rogerio versus Magomed or Bontorin versus Bibulatov, but not the full names until I come to who I'm going to predict to win. So in this fight, you kind of got Rogerio Bontorin, who hasn't really faced the toughest competition just yet. He's definitely building himself up, definitely a prospect, definitely solid, but he still hasn't really faced the best competition. You got Magomed Bibulatov, who has faced a lot of stiff competition, has fared pretty well. It was undefeated until his last fight where he got caught. You can't really say too much about that, but he got caught. It happens in the sport. Can't say, oh, it was lucky, but can't say, oh, he got soft chin or he's a scrub because he got caught. It happens. But looking at how they match up, without even needing to really go to the backstory, you got Magomed Bibulatov, who came up the Russian circuit and was undefeated coming up that circuit against a lot of Sambo practitioners, a lot of wrestlers. And he has like a karate background. So he's able to, and he really, none of those people he's fought like with the Sambo backgrounds, the wrestling backgrounds were able to have success, taking him down and grappling him. So I'm pretty sure him just being from that region, he has some influence in wrestling and Sambo. So he's dealt with a lot of that stuff. And it shows how well he handles himself in grappling. He's solid there as well. Then you got Rogerio Bontorin, whose striking really isn't really there yet, but he does have some like solid jiu-jitsu. He's working on that striking, his involvement, but it still isn't there yet. And I get Magomed Bibulatov, who has a background in karate, a significant advantage on the feet. And like I said, nobody's really had any success taking him down and grappling him. And I'm pretty sure he's pretty solid on the ground as well, enough to handle himself with Rogerio Bontorin if the fight goes there. But I feel like he'll be able to defend the takedown and pick apart Bontorin on the feet. And I feel like it'll be like a second round TKO. So in this fight, I got Magomed Bibulatov via second round TKO. Now on to our next fight we have in the bantamweight division, Ricardo Ramos versus Said Nurmagomedov. No relation to Khabib Nurmagomedov, even though they got the same last name, and I think sometimes they train together, or there's some relation, but it's not blood relation. But that's besides the point. Look at how these two match up. Looking at Said, really like how they match up, but let's kind of look at Said Nurmagomedov's last fight. His last fight was against Justin Scoggins, I believe. He got dropped twice. And really what won him that fight was he kind of laid and prayed with his wrestling. And you look at a lot of people who've beaten Justin Scoggins and turned into grappling matches, they usually submitted Scoggins with relative ease in most of his losses. But he had to resort to just straight out stalling on top. Really didn't do too much. Had some good ground and pound here and there, but not too much. And he got dropped twice on the fight. Twice in that fight, even though they really only scored like one of the drops, maybe even three times. I think it was definitely at least two, but one was scored. But wasn't too impressed by his striking. You could say, yeah, he was fighting a karate guy, so of course his striking's not going to look the best. So yeah, I simply wasn't impressed by his striking or really his overall performance against Scoggins in his last fight. I look at Ricardo Ramos' last fight. Yes, it was a split decision, but Keone King is a very tough fighter. His striking looked pretty solid in that fight as well. Well, King's and both Ramos' striking looked solid in that fight. And also, I think King is almost a similar style matchup to Ramos is Nurmagomedov is. A pretty lanky, bigger bantamweight with solid top grappling. And Ricardo Ramos pretty much prevented any of that grappling success from Keone King. Was able to neutralize it, counteract it, even have some of his own success. I think that's going to prepare him very well for this fight. I think Ricardo Ramos' striking is sharper. I think his jiu-jitsu is sharper. His overall grappling is sharper than Said Nurmagomedov. So overall, I just feel like the real tell of the tape for this fight, for me picking Ramos, is that I just think he's sharper in every area than Nurmagomedov. Not by a whole lot, but that's at this level, that's all it needs. Is that slight margin of difference. It could make a huge difference at the highest level of MMA. Now, I feel Ricardo Ramos won't destroy him, he won't submit him, he won't dominate him, but he'll be able to, significantly edge him on the decision. Significantly, just show that he's the better fighter on the night. Beat him in, whether it be on the striking, whether it be in the grappling, whether it be defending it or initiating the grappling exchanges. I feel like Ricardo Ramos will have that slight edge, that slight advantage that will allow him to edge Nurmagomedov on decision. So in this fight, I got Ricardo Ramos via decision. Now on to our next fight we have in the heavyweight division, Junior Albini versus Jairzinho Rozenstruik. So I'm just gonna say that at one time. So it's just Jairzinho. That's who he's gonna be. I can't say that last name too many times. So looking at Jairzinho's past, like he's like a kickboxer. He's like an MMA fighter. I think maybe he had a kickboxing background, but I don't think it's the most extensive or at the highest level. So it's not like he's some K1 world champion, glory level kickboxer. Like he has some pretty decent skills, but still the kind of sloppy ways. Like he has some good power, some good hooks, some decent kicks. I think really his best punch is like his hook. Like he'll maybe check hook, even though it's like a big wide check, not the sharpest check hook, but it definitely has some power, some decent overhands, some good variation to his kicks. Like he's a solid fighter, some decent combos, but nothing too impressive. But he still looks pretty raw as far as his overall talent. His grappling looks like he's an amateur, just learning as he goes, and that's probably the truth of it. I don't think he's gonna change too much in that amount of time. And we look at his last fight, he had to grease, got a yellow card because he greased before the fight because I guess he didn't want to, he was so worried about his grappling, like getting grappled, that he had to put some grease on himself so his opponent couldn't wrestle him as much. So that's another telling sign. Then you got Junior Albini, who's really not a wrestler or a grappler or anything, but he does have some submission wins on his record. But I feel like he's still, even barely having any jiu-jitsu for himself, I think he still is on a different level than Rozenstruik. Like he just kind of just does what he just does stuff. Like he doesn't really even train. Like he just goes out there and just does stuff they think will work, and somehow it works. At least I think that Junior Albini has trained some of jiu-jitsu and actually has some, some background or some study or put some time to it. Whereas Rozenstruik, I feel like he's just learning as he goes and just doing stuff. So I feel like Junior Albini has faced a tougher competition. I think his striking, even if Rozenstruik is any type of amazing striker, I don't think he's that much that much of a better striker than Albini. I think Albini's experience will factor over, like in cage and UFC against that level of competition will factor over Rozenstruik's experience in kickboxing. I think Junior Albini will be able to hold his own on the feet, probably be a little bit better. Matter of fact, I think he's actually a little bit cleaner, a little more composed on the feet than Rozenstruik. And we look at Rozenstruik's KOs, most of them come when his opponents get overzealous, and Albini really doesn't run over his punches, so he'll be pretty good on the feet. Now, I think if he wants to, he can mix in takedowns. That would make the fight much easier, and he'll be able to control him. He'll either a very big heavyweight or, very big, wide, heavyweight, take him down, lay on him, and just, work him. It'd be an easy fight, but I feel like he'll probably play out mostly on the feet. And if he needs to, he will initiate grappling, but I feel like it mostly will play out on the feet. It pretty decent enough slugfest or decent enough kind of scrap on the feet. But I think Junior Albini's this experience and overall, like, just been around that level of like talent in the UFC and been there with former champions and been in there with other contenders and stuff. I think that just will factor over Rozenstruik, and his greenness will show, which will allow Junior Albini just to take advantage of that stuff when he needs to, if he does need to. So basically, I'm just saying, experience in Junior Albini's corner will win the fight for him. So in this fight, I got Junior Albini via decision. Now on to our next fight we have in the women's flyweight division, Mara Romero Borella versus Tyler Santos. Cool names. But yeah, let's see. When I look at Tyler Santos, I think she's undefeated. I'm pretty sure she's undefeated. I'm not going to check that again. I'm pretty sure she's undefeated. But looking at her most recent win, pretty decent win. Then her second most recent fight, she beat some chick who was 0-9. Or who was 0-8 going into the fight, then 0-9 after the fight, or something like that. So she got a good stoppage over that chick, but what does that really say? That's not nothing to really add on your record, especially it's your second most recent fight and you're coming to UFC. Your second most recent fight, you beat some chick who was 0-9. That's not really impressive. Then looking at her most recent win, I don't think it was that impressive either. I think it was like a decision over some other chick who really hadn't beaten anybody. You got Mara Romero Borella. I think she's already had she had 3 fights in the UFC. Beat 2 chicks who I think already outside the UFC. And then lost to a chick who, in Caitlin Chujekian, who was so close to challenging for the title. She was in that #1 contender fight against Jessica and just lost that fight by the slightest of margins, or really the judges determined who they wanted to win out of that fight. It was a close fight, could have went either way. So really, some chick Chukagian, who could have, she lost the fight to Chukagian, who could have won, challenged for the title. I'm not saying that Borella could have challenged for the title, but I'm saying she fought Chukagian, who could have fought for the title, but that's too much MMA math going here. I'm veering off. But just the fact that she fought a fighter who's on that level, and she actually outstruck Chukagian, who's supposed to be a kickboxer or a karate stylist almost, and she outstruck her, got a takedown on her. But Chukagian was able just to, I guess, maybe land some more significant strikes to edge that fight. But just the simple fact that she was able to compete with that opponent on that higher level, this really all I need, because I can't really find too much tape on Taylor Santos, can't find too much tape on Borella. But just based off the fact that she was able to compete that well with a high-level competitor in this division, just shows where her level of skill at. And that's all I really need to know. I think Taylor Santos is a good prospect, and she definitely could chain together and be a much better fighter. But at this point, I think she still, needs those good wins, that experience. And this fight will give her that experience, but it's also going to give her a loss, in my opinion. I think Borella just more proven. And that's all I really need to see, that she could hold her own with Chukagian on the feet, as well as mixing the grappling and, do the work there. So I think this is based off the fact that Borella is proven and Santos is not. And that's all I need to know in this fight. And I'm not saying this is some confident pick, but I'm just saying I'll always pick proven over unproven any day. So in this fight, I got Mara Romero Borella via decision. Now on to our next fight we have in the welterweight division, Thiago Alves versus Max Griffin. Now we got Thiago Alves, who used to be one of the top 5 welterweights for a long period of time, especially during GSP's reign. He was one of the long-time top welterweights. But those days are long gone. I think Thiago Alves is still a solid fighter, but he really hasn't evolved, stayed in pretty much the same state as always. Like, he still managed to stick around, stay in good shape, but it really hasn't managed to evolve. He's still going to do the same thing. Still got those leg kicks. He's going to be at a height disadvantage against Max Griffin, a reach disadvantage. And really what the best thing he's going to have is his kicks. I think Max Griffin has a pretty good straight. It will be able to keep on the outside, be able to counter his leg kick with a straight, and pick him apart from a distance. I think Thiago Alves not going to mix any grappling too much. Max Griffin not going to mix any too much grappling. So it's pretty much going to play out 90% on the feet, if not 100% on the feet. I think Max Griffin will be able to exploit the range against Alves and just pick him apart. I don't think he's that much of a younger fighter, or maybe he's not even younger, but he's at least some guy who's trying to accomplish something right now, whereas Thiago Alves, one of those fighters who accomplished a lot, but their best days are behind him. I think Max Griffin is going to be much more hungrier, and he has much more in the tank than Thiago Alves left in his career, and I think he's going to, like I said, pick him apart from the outside. I don't think he's going to be a knockout or some wash, or where he just get Thiago Alves to look like BJ Penman looking, but he's going to at least, he's not going to look bad, but I think he's not going to have enough to win the fight. But again, this is not no real easy fight to pick, or it's still, even at this stage, it's kind of a pick 'em in my opinion, but I think Max Griffin's going to pick him apart from the outside and kind of counter those leg kicks with straights. So in this fight, I got Max Griffin via decision. Now to our prelim headliner we have in the middleweight division, Marcus Perez versus Anthony Hernandez. So looking at Anthony Hernandez's last fight, he actually fought somebody who kind of mirrored Perez in a way, but definitely wasn't as skilled. Was kind of like, like a upcoming fighter who hasn't really got the most experience, but is still trying to evolve his style, was kind of telegraphing his kind of karate style a bit, which allowed Hernandez to walk him down and just knock him out. But against Perez is much more solid, much more proven. Was an LFA champion, I believe. Been in there with some tough outs in the UFC with Eric Anders and Andrews, what's his name? The guy who won that tough season with, that guy. So he been there with some tough dudes, and they ain't been able to finish him. I think he only has 2 losses in his career, 2 or 3 losses in his career. I don't think never been stopped. He's been in there with some heavy hitters and some tough competition. I think Anthony Hernandez, he's showing a full well-rounded skill set. His striking doesn't really impress me too much, but he does got some decent power. He is aggressive. That's always a better chase. So some people have good striking, but they don't use it. He at least going to use the striking he has to make it work. So that's impressive. He's going to pressure you. He has some good grappling, some good submissions, and his takedown offense isn't the best, but he will press you, and that's a good thing to have. But that couldn't also factor in him winning against Perez. But I think Perez is just more experienced, and he also has, I think, maybe a bit of a better grappler than Hernandez, and a more proven grappler, more proven striker, just an overall more proven fighter. Been in there with, about the best competition he can face or can reach at this point. And I think he'll be able to just, outpoint Hernandez. I think he'll be able to fight from the outside, chop his legs down with kicks, and make Hernandez have to work to get on the inside, then counter him when he gets there, and then just fight him from the outside. And if Hernandez gets too aggressive, I think he'll be able to duck under and get some takedowns. Just be able to edge him. I don't think he'll knock him out or submit him, but I think he'll, fight smart and get a decision over Hernandez. So in this fight, I got Marcus Perez via decision. And that concludes my fight predictions for the prelims of UFC Fight Night on ESPN Plus, Assuncao versus Moraes 2. Thanks for watching. Like, comment, and subscribe, and come back for more videos. Peace.